Hey, what's going on, Dodgers Nation? D-Mac here. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DMac_LA. Today we're talking Trea Turner's future with the Dodgers. Will LA lock him up long term? We've got some new interesting nuggets about his future with LA. But first, for all latest Dodgers news, rumors, hype videos, interviews, breakdowns, and more all season long, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and if you really want to support the channel, smash that like button. And as always, I want all your takes down below in the comment section. Today's Dodgers Nation question of the day: what do you think will be a fair contract for Trea Turner? And if he's not the shortstop next season, who do you think will be there? Who do you want to see there? And give me your percentage chance that you think the Dodgers will re-sign him. What does your gut tell you right now? And are you at all concerned about his postseason performances in his career? I want your takes down below. And for all latest Dodgers news, head over to DodgersNation.com. Now, in my opinion, the Dodgers' top priority this offseason, and hopefully that starts at some point in November after the Dodgers win the World Series, is to lock up Trea Turner. They need to take a page out of Trea Turner's book, the smooth slider Raider, and slide a big fat contract right across that table and have him sign it and lock him up. And I think when it comes to Trea Turner, a lot of people have a lot of questions about, does he want to sign with LA? Well, we got some very interesting quotes about his takes on the organization, his takes on wanting to sign in Los Angeles, particularly, in just a second. But you know I bring my facts to the fight, and before you pay Trea, you have to see what you're getting. What is under the hood? Now, you know he's a Bugatti on the base pass. Fastest player in the league, in the 100th percentile when it comes to sprint speed. But overall, if you look at his numbers since the Dodgers traded for him, he, of course, was included in that deal. It included Max Scherzer, and you had Josiah Gray, you had Keibert Ruiz. And since being in that Dodgers uniform, he has been statistically the best shortstop in all of Major League Baseball. He leads all big league shortstops with 225 hits, 50 doubles, a .319 batting average. He, of course, won the batting title last season, 113 RBI, 121 runs scored, a 142 weighted runs created plus. Remember, 100 is league average, so his bat has been 42% better than league average in the past year since he's joined the Dodgers. And then a 7.8 F4, that's also tops in the league. Also has 28 bombs in that span, which is fourth in all of Major League Baseball. So he has been the most productive shortstop since being traded to LA. And since the start of the 2020 season, he's been one of the very elite players in the league. He has a 14.6 WAR since the start of the 2020 season. That's second, right behind Jose Ramirez of the Cleveland Guardians. And in that stretch, a 143 WRC plus. So the numbers do bear it out. He is an elite shortstop. There's no question about it. Now, what are the knocks on Trea Turner? Well, I see some people out there that say, hey, he's going to be 30 towards the end of June next season. Will Father of Time catch up on Trea Turner? Will he lose a step or two? Because we know how much he benefits from that top-end speed. And yes, he does utilize that speed. If you look at since the start of the 2017 season, he has 124 infield hits. That's tops in all of Major League Baseball. It's absolutely a weapon for him, but he's a very athletic guy. He's a guy that trains well. He keeps himself in great shape. And yes, he is going to lose a step or two here and there, but I still think he's going to be a dynamic base runner even towards the end of his career, towards the end of that contract. Because look, yes, the speed is a thing, but also his instincts are top level too. Now, another knock I hear about Trea Turner is his postseason performances. A lot has been made about the fact that in his postseason career, he's slashing 228, 274, 287 with a 561 OPS in 167 at-bats, 179 plate appearances. He only has one home run in his postseason career. And then last year, in his first postseason stint with the Dodgers, he hit just 216, had a 500 OPS, was 11 for 51, and had just 2 extra base hits. And I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that, yes, I think he might have been pressing just a little bit. What I saw during his at-bats is he was chasing, he was expanding a little much, wasn't getting that same hard contact. And I think the big question with Trea Turner was, why can't you replicate the success that you're having in the regular season in the postseason? Well, last year, the Dodgers, they rode him really hard down the stretch. After the trade, they relied on Trea Turner's production to match that franchise record with 106 wins, to fall just one game shy of the Giants in the NL West. And on top of that, you have him batting in the 3-hole. He looks like he's better suited for the 2-hole where he's at now, and I think he's just more comfortable in this lineup this year than he was last year. And look, I think it's important for people to remember, too, that use your postseason numbers, and yes, they are important. They are a very small sample size relative to a normal season. It's basically a fourth or fifth of a season when it comes to plate appearances, so you can turn it around. Have the Dodgers ever had that in the past? Have they ever had a shortstop that's turned things around? Who was that one guy in 2020 who, heading into the 2020 postseason, had a career .203 batting average? Oh, that's right, Corey Seager. Everyone said that he couldn't get it done in October, and what did he do in 2020? He went into God mode. He had an 1171 OPS, hit 8 home runs. He took home the NLCS and World Series MVP, and now he's known as this clutch postseason player. So it can turn around on a dime, and I think you just have to be in a good spot to get hot. And I think this year, Trea Turner is in a better position to have success when it matters most. Now, is that the reason why the Dodgers didn't offer him a contract extension before the season? I think that's a pretty interesting question. I always say, hey, you don't want to pay the barber before you see your haircut. Maybe the Dodgers, they wanted to see how Gavin Lux would perform this season. Would he be a viable option to take over that shortstop spot and be the long-term solution? Maybe they want to see how the Trevor Bauer situation would play out. But for whatever reason, they did not offer him a contract extension. And he told Fabian Ardaya of The Athletic before the season, those talks didn't come to fruition. Turner said Friday the Dodgers brass approached him in recent days to tell him no extension offer was coming before the season, all but securing he will hit free agency this winter, potentially as the top available shortstop. He would go on to say, the money will take care of itself. It's why you have agents and whatnot. So I'm not worried about it. I just asked them to be honest with me. They were honest with me. A few days ago, a week ago, whatever it was, it's time to play and time to try to win a World Series. So my big takeaway there is, yes, he did show that he could compartmentalize. We know the Dodgers, they offered Corey Seager a $250 million extension before the 2021 season, but with Trea Turner, at least there was some transparency there, and I think he appreciated that. And I also think, and it's just kind of my gut instinct, just kind of being in that clubhouse, feeling the vibes out, that he wants to be a Dodger more these days. I think he's more open to the idea of not only signing with the Dodgers, but what that means. Living on the West Coast, living in Los Angeles, and also, how about playing alongside Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman? Yes, you can call them a big three. I think if you include Will Smith, it's a fantastic four, but just look at the productivity. Freddie Freeman this year, 156 hits. Trea Turner, 155 hits. They could be the first tandem to have 200 or more hits since Mookie Betts and Dustin Pedroia back in 2016. So they're a very productive group, and I think he realizes that he has a great shot of success each and every year, that this team is primed to be World Series contenders for the foreseeable future, and they are very committed to winning as many championships as they can with this group. So I definitely think that the chemistry that he has with this group is definitely a factor. If you ask me if it was something, nothing, or everything, I would say something. Look, last season we saw he was a great player but didn't show too much personality. Now we're seeing the Wolf of Wall Street hit celebration. We know he's the Wolf of the Ravine, and he knows that if he signs with the Dodgers, that he's playing alongside Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman for at the very least the next 5 seasons after this year. So I think that stability could be big for him. And yes, he did say some nice things about Bryce Harper and the Phillies and this and that, but I think he realizes that this group, they're here to compete. And I think with this core, if you were to sign Trea Turner, you also maximize the remainder of Mookie Betts' prime and the remainder of Freddie Freeman's prime. And that's why I also think you feel good about the fact that, yes, Trea Turner is a little older than some of the other premium shortstops that have been on the market in the past few seasons. The Corey Seagers, we saw Francisco Lindor, he was traded and then signed with the Mets. But Trea Turner's durable, and his prime lines up with the prime of the current stars that are under contract until, at least, like I said, the next 5 seasons. And also, if you're wondering how Trea Turner feels about this Dodgers organization, well, just ask the man himself. well, because he had some very telling comments to George Whitmire of NBC Sports recently, where he essentially outlined what he was looking for in the organization that he's ultimately going to sign with. He said, from learning how this process works, from talking to other guys, I think that's mandatory. Multiple organizations, you'd want to know what they expect or where it's going or what they're trying to do. Kind of a vision. Whatever that vision is, it is. But I think that's mandatory. You need to know how the next few years look and how that pertains to you and your family and your career. It's definitely a factor in picking a team. So you're talking about the next few years. Look, you got Mookie Betts under contract. You have Freddie Freeman. You have a farm system that's consistently ranked among the tops in the league. So you have the prospect capital to make moves, and you also have the resources to go out there and sign guys. And then right now, if you look at after the next season, they only have 4 guys committed. You got Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Chris Taylor, and Austin Barnes. So if you add Trea Turner to that mix, yes, you're going to have to pay some of these starters and fortify this rotation, but we know the Dodgers are going to be willing to spend if it means competing for World Series titles. So to me, that actually is a great thing for the Dodgers, because he's talking about a team that has their future plans in place, and that is exactly what LA has. And then how about these comments? Trea said, I would love to be here, whatever it is. From almost any angle you look at it, it seems like the Dodgers are the best in baseball, or one of the best. This place is awesome. He would go on to say, I'd like to be here, and hopefully they feel the same way and that they would love to have me. But if that's a conversation for later this offseason, then I'm looking forward to it. And then also one more little nugget. Recently, John Heyman wrote in a piece for the New York Post about a possible Dansby Swanson extension. He had this little nugget. All he says is Turner is making clear he's over his anti-LA feeling. Can't blame him. What's not to love? So there is this myth out there that Trea Turner wants to be on the East Coast. And to me, if you look at from a negotiating standpoint, you don't want it to be known that you're not considering any West Coast teams. You don't want to shrink your market at all from a leverage standpoint. So I understand that. And maybe he does. He's from Florida. Maybe he does want to play on the East Coast. But I definitely think if the Dodgers make him a very competitive and aggressive offer, that he would strongly consider it. I know Robert Murray a few months ago, he had reported that maybe Trea Turner is looking for a deal where he's getting the same AAV as Corey Seager at $32.5 million. But hey, why don't you just offer him that $250 million contract that you were offering Corey Seager? And you talk about an AAV of $31.25 million at his age. I think when you consider the fact that it would put the Dodgers in a great position to get as many World Series titles out of this core group, that's what it's all about. I'm looking at the next 3 to 5 seasons. If you give me 2 World Series with Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman and Trea Turner, I'll be happy about that. We know that I think Trea Turner is going to age well. I absolutely do. And then also you consider the fact that Carlos Correa, he's going to opt out. His stock has dropped this season. His defense has fell off a little bit. He hasn't been the same player defensively. Xander Bogaerts, his power has dropped. You see Dansby Swanson, he's really had a great season for himself and put himself in a position to get a nice payday. But he's already having some little extension talks with the Atlanta Braves. He's from Georgia. I think there's a good chance that he might stay in Atlanta. So there's not tons of options out there if you're the Dodgers, if you want a premium shortstop. And I definitely think you've got to pay Trea. And if and when the Dodgers do sign Trea Turner to a new contract extension, I know how I'm going to celebrate. I'm going to be having me a nice crisp and refreshing Jim Beam highball seltzer. And let's have an imaginary one right now. Please drink responsibly. But let me know down below in the comment section, what are your thoughts on Trea's recent comments about the Dodgers? How much would you offer him? Is he a must sign? Let me know down below. My name is DMAC. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DMAC_LA. If you haven't yet, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and if you really want to support the channel, smash that like button. And until next time, think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.